right now on 5 on your side at 10.
The heat is on tomorrow, but humidity will be tolerable. I'll tell you what it'll feel like.
Gun safety. The president signing a bill into law following mass shootings across the country. The part St. Louis will play. Animal abuse accusations. A Facebook post claims it's happening at a local fair. Tonight, a worker addresses those concerns.
We're not exploiting animals or abusing animals. We're trying to teach people what we're doing to try to help them.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Bush. Ann has the night off. That post on Facebook was about a traveling fair in St. Charles County. It includes hundreds of people, all expressing their concerns over how the animals are being treated. Our Pepper Baker joins us live from outside Family Arena to bring some clarity to those accusations. Pepper.
Mike, based on the sign here, the Thrillville Fair is the greatest carnival on the planet. But a woman who visited seems to disagree after seeing the animal exhibit conditions, specifically the Sea Lion Splash Show. And now the owner wants to set the record straight.
You sing it for me? Good girls.
James Earhart has over 10 years of experience training sea lions.
Yeah, I treat them like my kids. I mean, I love them with all my heart. That's the reason I do this. That's the only way to do it.
He helps his dad showcase Zoe and Lily to people all over the country at traveling fairs, which hasn't always been easy.
Sea Lion Splash, which is our company, we've never had a citation. We've had minor violations, which like the 2021 violation was one about expired eye drops.
That USDA 2021 report resurfaced online when a woman expressed concerns on Facebook about the animals' living conditions at the Thrillville Fair in St. Charles County's Family Arena.
California sea lions, depth of water, they're only required to have 3 feet, 3 inches of water. We have 4.5 feet of water. I could have only one pool and still have enough space required for 3 California sea lions, and I have 2 pools. So, I mean, as far as space goes, we have plenty of space. I mean, double what we need to have.
That report stated that the space inside the trailer was too small for the sea lions. Earhart says they now keep them outside overnight.
Before we realized that pool was too small last year, they would always go inside at night, and now we have 24-hour security watching the sea lions. When they travel, there's no restrictions. So they go inside for transit, which is once every 2 weeks.
We asked fairgoers about their thoughts on the animal conditions.
They could probably be a little bigger. The pools are kind of small. They're about like as big as my room.
They look overall happy. And, you know, they eating and they playing. So they don't look like they're being harmed or anything.
Earhart says the inspection process reports violations as a warning before issuing citations.
If you get a violation, they'll give you a certain amount of time to correct it, and we've corrected everything we need to correct.
Every exhibit at the Thrillville Fair is a separate contracted business. Now, the St. Charles County Animal Control did come out and do a local inspection before they opened last Thursday. Also, the woman's Facebook post did include concerns about the dog show as well as the petting zoo, but the sea lion instructor was the only one available for an interview. Now, the Thrillville Fair will be open until next Sunday, July 17th. Live in St. Charles, Pepper Baker, 5 on your side.
Now to a developing story out of North St. Louis County where police say a woman was shot and killed. This was about 4 hours ago near Diamond Drive and Chambers Road in Riverview. Police say the woman's car was also stolen. Police have not released any other information about the victim or a suspect. We'll continue to work to get you more information. The new federal gun safety law could send millions of dollars to help make St. Louis a safer city. That's one reason Mayor Tashara Jones is headed to Washington, D.C. tomorrow. Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, is here to preview what we can expect. Mark?
Mike, we've heard from Mayor Tashara Jones singling out Republicans in Jefferson City during her State of the City address. She said then that the state's measures to ban gun laws in Missouri tied the hands of police and made Missouri less safe. As she boards that plane for our nation's capital, one of her spokesmen says the new gun safety law might open a new source of cash flow for the city's ongoing public safety efforts.
This is an important first step in getting guns off of our streets and the first major federal gun safety legislation passed in 26 years.
Mayor Tashara Jones will join gun control advocates at the White House Monday after President Biden echoed their calls for gun safety after the school shooting in Uvalde, Texas.
For God's sake, just do something.
The White House will celebrate that bipartisan measure the president signed into law 2 weeks ago, though it does not go as far as many Democrats wanted, to ban assault weapons or high-capacity magazines or raise the legal age to buy a gun. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell called the compromise
some common sense solutions without rolling back rights.
The new federal gun law closes the so-called boyfriend loophole, which allows dating partners in domestic violence cases to buy a gun. It also includes incentives for states to implement red flag laws, more penalties for gun traffickers, enhanced background checks for younger gun buyers, and more funding for mental health care.
This would allow the city to increase funding even further to deploy interrupters and other community resources in high crime neighborhoods to reduce violence and make our city safer overall.
At the local level,
I own guns.
St. Louis Alderman Joe Vaccaro says gun owners can take steps to make the city a safer place on their own.
Common sense things.
He secures his handguns in a safe with special locks. When you take them out of the house,
you don't leave them in your car. If your gun gets stolen out of your car, that's not a responsible gun owner. And if that gun is traced back to you in a crime, that's going to be your problem. That should be your problem. It's not, but it should be.
Vaccaro recommends returning a controversial police practice to retrieve stolen guns.
In order to get those, you got to do stop and frisk.
But red flag laws and other federal gun safety protocols are outlawed here under a relatively new Missouri state law.
We're in court fighting.
While local and federal law enforcement challenge that ban in court, Vaccaro argues state lawmakers should reverse course and adopt the very same red flag laws President Trump once endorsed when he was in the White House.
If there's evidence that shows that you're not in a good state of mind, absolutely you should have your guns taken away.
What could that federal law mean in the state that bans federal gun laws? We expect to hear more of those details tomorrow morning, including ways that federal funding just might reroute some 911 calls to help send clinicians with cops, especially in cases of medical emergency.
Mark, thanks. Well, protesters shut down part of Interstate 64 in downtown St. Louis today. The group marched through downtown for abortion rights. Police say this protest on the interstate lasted for about 20 to 30 minutes, and it follows that historic Supreme Court decision last month to overturn Roe v. Wade. While the protests centered around abortion, organizers say they're fighting for much more.
They're coming for our voting rights, they're coming for Native sovereignty, they're coming for gay rights. It's a huge issue, and I think that people need to understand the gravity of it.
We also spoke to Coalition Life's executive director. The nonprofit's mission is to end abortion in the St. Louis area.
It's really important that we continue to focus on helping those specific women. They're going to need more help than they ever had before, and we're ready to do that along with the other 75 pregnancy centers in Missouri.
Today, President Biden said he's considering declaring a public health emergency to free up federal resources for abortion access. Just days ago, he signed an executive order protecting access to abortion and contraceptives. It's been a week since a former CBC football player was shot and killed in downtown St. Louis, and now police are asking for your help to solve the case. Damian Baker and a woman were shot at 7th and Surrey last Sunday, and that's right down the road from Busch Stadium. The woman told police a man tried to steal their SUV when someone else fired shots at them. Because of where this happened, police released a statement saying they believe there are likely numerous witnesses with information. Anyone who knows something can call police or Crime Stoppers at 866-371-TIPS. A man is dead after a house fire in North St. Louis County. It happened early this morning on Hatherley Drive in Belle Noire. The man was found inside the home. He was taken to the hospital and later died. County police and the bomb and arson unit are now investigating the cause. Anyone with information is asked to call police. Police are trying to find the person or persons who broke into 46 cars at Mercy South overnight. Personal items were stolen from about 10 cars, and some of those cars belonged to healthcare workers. In a statement, Mercy tells us, quote, "We are dismayed anyone would choose to break into someone else's car, especially cars belonging to critical healthcare workers, as those caregivers were aiding patients in need. The hospital is now increasing patrols and security. In about 6 hours, MoDOT will reopen lanes on Interstate 44 near Big Bend. The interstate has been closed all weekend for bridge work. 3 lanes will reopen by 5 in the morning, just in time for rush hour. 1 lane will stay closed through August.
It is not enough to simply say never again. You have to live it, you have to be it.
Confronting hate, a sneak preview of a place using the lessons of history to take action against injustice. Can your emotional support animal join you on a plane? Our Verify team on which animals are and are not allowed.
Our heat index soars into the triple digits tomorrow, but it is not going to last. I'll tell you when the cool down begins.
A baby formula plant at the center of a nationwide shortage is back open again. The Abbott plant in Michigan shut down for 3 weeks because of flooding. Before that, it was shut down months after an FDA inspection found deadly bacteria.
As an honorary all-star starter by the WNBA, a league MVP, and WNBA champion from the Phoenix Mercury, Brittany Griner.
WNBA star Brittany Griner honored during the league's All-Star game in Chicago. Griner is detained in Russia on drug charges, which she pleaded guilty to this week. She faces up to 10 years in prison. Her family is asking the U.S. government to help bring her back home. These are dangerous times in America. In just the last few weeks, we've reported on one mass shooting after another, and it seems there's a pandemic of hate. In tonight's Making a Difference report, a place that's confronting hatred and using the lessons of history to help us all take action against intolerance and injustice.
We are in the grand lobby of our brand new museum.
A museum is a place where time is transformed into space.
You've got your doors and your security entrance here.
And this space marks a time that should never be forgotten.
So this part of the exhibition is...
You're getting the first sneak peek of the new St. Louis Kaplan-Feldman Holocaust Museum, which opens to the public in November. Helen Turner is the museum's director of education.
The core tenet of this museum is that we're about St. Louis survivors, and this gallery is where you'll be introduced to those voices and those stories.
When it opens, the expanded 36,000 square foot facility in Creve Coeur will be 4 times the size of the previous museum, which served the community for over 25 years.
So instead of just being a museum that's about numbers and facts and dates, we're also about choices and about human beings.
And in many ways, the Holocaust is a deeply personal story.
So this is Evelina.
As people cleaned out their closets and attics during the pandemic, archivist Diane Everman received dozens of new artifacts from the families of survivors, like this doll named Evelina.
She was given to one of our local survivors in Berlin right before Evelina, the little girl who lived down the street, was deported to Auschwitz and murdered there.
There was also this letter sent by the Daniels family to relatives in Vienna.
And then it was sent back to them, and they immediately thought the worst, which was confirmed later on, that her entire family had been murdered.
After the Holocaust, people said never forget, but it seems people are forgetting.
The Holocaust keeps coming up in pop culture. It's being misused and misrepresented, and Holocaust denial and distortion is being used in a very real way.
Learning the truth serves as an important warning about injustice and bigotry and what happens when people stay silent. The goal of this museum is to empower its visitors.
Young, old, that they have a role to play in sharing this story and making active change in their communities and in their world today.
Bringing to mind that the only cures for hatred and intolerance are education and remembrance.
An opportunity for us as a community to use that story to take a look at what's going on in the world around us and try and find a way to fight the hate and the bias and the misunderstanding.
The new St. Louis Holocaust Museum, opening in November. It will be a place of both heartbreak and hope and serve as a reminder that we can and must do better.
It is not enough to simply say never again. You have to live it, you have to be it.
Again, the grand reopening is set for November 2nd, and we'll do more on the museum as we get closer. A reminder, we also like to focus on inspiring people. If you know someone inspiring and making a difference for others, let me know by email at mbush@kstk.com.
Come on in, everybody. Welcome, welcome.
It's the largest bounce house in America, and right now it's in the St. Louis area. You can find it at Brookdale Farms in Eureka. There's also an obstacle course, ball pit, castle, and more. There are sessions for people of all ages, even adults.
A rave for kids, but we do have an adult session as well. So the adult session is usually from 6 to 9 in the evenings. And the difference with that is the vibe changes up, the kids kind of clear out. You can make it a date night or come out with your friends. And yeah, adults come out and get to be a kid again.
The last days to go are Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and you'll have to book online at BigBounceAmerica.com. Well, we had a beautiful day around St. Louis. Blue skies, no rain, but the heat is coming back. Meteorologist Tracy Hinson is in for Scott and joins us with a look at the numbers.
Oh yes, it is going to be very hot, so I hope people got to enjoy those bounce houses. They're much harder than they look. Today when we had that nice weather, 89 degrees for a high temperature. It did feel a little bit warmer than that at times today. 68 for a low. Our average high is 90. Our average low is 71, so pretty close enough to call our day average for sure. We actually had a pretty old high record set back in 1881, 104 degrees, then 1961 set back in 54. Year departure, we're about an inch and a half under as far as rainfall, typical rainfall for this time of year. As you can see up here, that's that drought scale. Most of us are considered that abnormally dry. That's in the yellow. A few areas not in the yellow though had some pretty good thunderstorm activity that dumped quite a bit of rain on them, and that helped them out. Normal for July is just under 4 inches. So far, we're at just under an inch and a quarter, so we still have a ways to go. Currently, it's 80 degrees in St. Louis, 72 for Farmington, 71 in Warrenton, 72 in Alton, and 72 in Farmington. For tonight, clear conditions, 70 degrees, winds out of the north-northeast about 10 miles per hour. Our sunset was at 8:30. Now let's go over our construction forecast tomorrow. I really feel for everyone working outside because our heat index once again is going to get blistering hot. We start off in the morning, not bad, 72, feels like 73. 10 a.m., 84 degrees. We start to get into that heat index here. 88 degrees is what it'll feel like. 91 by 1 p.m., it'll feel like 96. And then once we hit 4 p.m., it'll be 96, and it's going to feel like 102 degrees. So it's going to get pretty toasty tomorrow. Here's your St. Louis 10-day forecast for you. We actually have a pretty nice week to enjoy here as we stay right in the upper 80s to low 90s. So as we went over at the top of the weather here, that's about average for us. And then we start to get a little bit warmer. Heat builds in on Saturday. We're up to 97 on Sunday, and we know the drill here in St. Louis. We got to add in humidity to that, so it's going to feel much hotter than this. It's going to feel like the triple digits for Saturday, Sunday, and then well into the triple digits again for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Average for us is about 90 degrees, so when we hit those close to 100 degree marks, that is well above average.
Yeah, but we're getting used to it, I guess. All right, Tracy.
I guess so.
Yeah. Thanks, Tracy. Coming up, service animals are allowed on planes, but what about emotional support animals? We verify the rules. Well, you've heard the phrase, pack your patience if you travel at the airport. What about packing your pet? People online are sharing their wild animals on airplane story and surprising service animals. But what are the rules? Abby Larico is here to verify.
We've heard about pigs flying, plus miniature horses, turkeys, anteaters, and other emotional support animals on airplanes. And you might think any creature can fly if it works as a support animal. But is that true?
Our sources are the Department of Transportation, the Department of Justice and the Americans with Disabilities Act, the American Kennel Club's Sheila Goff, and the policies of several major airlines. The ADA defines service animals as dogs, quote, individually trained to do work or perform tasks for people with disabilities, physical or psychiatric, and legally allowed to be with their person in public places.
They have to have a specific diagnosed disability, and then that dog is mitigating the disability in some way.
The American Kennel Club says emotional support animals are prescribed by mental health professionals, but they are pets and not service dogs.
So it's really tricky, because we recognize that emotional support is really valuable, but it's something that all dogs can provide, and it's generalized versus a very specific task.
At the beginning of 2021, the DOT issued its, quote, final rule on service animals on airplanes, which also, quote, no longer considers an emotional support animal to be a service animal. It was a change in policy AKC supported.
When people started really misrepresenting pets as emotional support animals, there was a lot of poor behavior. It's sad, but that's sort of what we've seen in the last several years.
So now airlines do not need to accommodate emotional support animals in the same way they do service dogs. Most major carriers say they won't. Emotional support animals travel as pets with the same requirements and same fees. Service dogs fly free.
That dog can go anywhere you go.
So no, not any animal is allowed to board a plane just because it's called a support animal. Also, service animals are not required to be identified with a vest or special collar. You might not know one when you see one, but airlines are allowed to ask for certain paperwork before service dogs can fly. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
Have something you want us to verify? Email verify@ksdk.com. Coming up, the number of self-checkouts is growing despite most people having problems with it. Why some shoppers are using them anyway. 67% of shoppers say they've had issues with self-checkouts. Customers are not the only ones having an issue with it. The stores are too. They've lost money because the machines are expensive and there's been more shoplifting. Still, some retailers are pilot testing stores that only offer self-checkouts. Retailers say some people like not having to interact with another person. This week, you can score deals on Amazon during Prime Days. It runs July 12th to the 13th. There will be deals on electronics, toys, clothes, and more. And from here on out, sending a letter the traditional way will cost you more. USPS raised its postage pricing today. A forever stamp will cost 2 extra cents for a total of 60 cents. Prices for postcards and international letters also going up. And there you have it, 5 on your side at 10. Now, here's Frank Cusimano with Sports Plus.